Hello guys. So, as many of you know, my life has mainly revolved always around all subject that can be put under the umbrella of so-called spirituality, whatever that means, and everything that is associated to it. So, when I was a kid, the two main things that made me sort of fall in love with the subject were martial arts, Chinese martial arts specifically, on one side, and on the other side was um, magic. Magic meant as the art of illusion, and nothing esoterical here, literally manipulation, of cards and coins and ropes and balls and so on. I was really passionate about that, and I used to study magic quite a lot. And when I began my journey in the depth of Chinese martial arts, well, in depth at that time, in those arts I saw the answer to my wish to see real magic and not magic created as an illusion. And I have to say that the art of magic, the art of creating illusion, is very much connected to all those arts. Because if you are familiar with the Chinese arts, for example with the Chinese martial arts, very often they are categorized in external and internal. And if you see it from that perspective, magic is very similar. And this is something that when I was a kid, I could not properly grasp. Because of course, same like in the martial arts, you're very active, you always want to do, you always want to move, you always want to show off. And that is good, for that age, it's good as a phase, right? It's a great phase. And it's great when you live it fully, So in the martial arts, I was living it that way, and same in magic. I wanted to manipulate everything. I wanted to learn every single technique to make something disappear, appear, pass it like this, like this. I was trying to learn everything from books and videos and meeting up with other magicians and so on, with other illusionists, yeah. And then as I was sort of like growing up, the other side of it, the more internal, mysterious side of it, that is mostly related to psychology, to mind, to how the mind works. It's something that started to fascinate me more and more. So then it was not about performing a trick with the most complicated techniques, rather than performing the simplest trick in the world, but with such a story and mental involvement for the other person, that you could create real magic for them in their perception of the world in that moment. So I think this is something really beautiful and about this kind of arts. And because I was, as I was mentioning, always interested very much in what nowadays they very much call the woo-woo aspect of the art. I believe that knowing some basic concepts, some basic principles from this art of creating illusion, of creating illusion for the mind. It's something that can be really helpful for us to understand and to decode better certain aspects and certain elements of this whole world of the so-called woo-woo and of the gurus and everything that is very much popular now. Yeah, how to differentiate a practice that is not so effective, yeah, that is made just for being sold, from a practice that is more authentic, rather than how to differentiate a guru from fake guru. It is very famous now, yeah, the fake gurus online and so on. So what I wanted to do is to show you the easiest magic trick with cards that I literally bought today at the supermarket. So they have absolutely nothing special, just normal cards out of a Balinese supermarket, so the quality is not even very good of those cards. And I would like to use this little game to explain then a few concepts that you can translate, yeah, to understanding these other aspects from these other woo-woo arts. And I will first show the little trick, and then I will explain quickly how it works. Although, of course, there should be a moral code in the magician's world, right, where you don't show tricks twice, you don't reveal the secrets. I think just this one is fine, especially if it can be helpful for you to understand a whole series of other things. So I really would like to also involve the help of my good friend Ivan, who is also helping me to film this. And the game is very simple. As you know, the cards in a deck of cards, if I just show you the cards and you can see the cards, and I tell you just pick a card, you will very likely pick just a random card, or maybe your favorite card. Yeah, you are not really influenced in that moment by something specific, right? So what happens if I just tell to my friend Ivan to just cut the cards at any given point of the deck? Just please cut the cards. Просто. Не, просто поставь. Oh, okay. So this is the cut, right? So if I just again show you the cards and I tell you to pick a random card, yeah, your mind in that very specific moment is not really influenced by anything. So you most likely will be influenced by either the thought of your favorite card or something that has happened to you in the past with cards, or something like that. Yeah, you can figure it out yourself. So in this case, as we all know, the deck of cards has 52 different cards. So I asked my friend Ivan to cut the deck in a random point, and you have literally 52 possibilities, right, of the deck being cut in one very specific point at any given card. So again, I would like to call Ivan and just take the card at the cut, and not show it to me, just show it to the camera, and then just put it back on the table. You just can put it there, yeah. Yeah, we can put it there. Yeah, the card is there. Just let's make sure it doesn't fly because there is a little bit of wind. Anyway, you remember the card, Ivan, yeah? Okay. So what happens now is that if I just randomly shuffle the cards again, the quality of these cards is not very good, but I will just now try to spread the cards on the table. So I don't know if in the camera you can see the spread of the cards. Yeah? So now that the cards are all visible, I would like, yeah, just put the camera down. I would like, please, Ivan, if you can come, and if you can just look at the cards for a few seconds. And so the cards are face up, so he can see the cards, right? So now I want to ask you to select 5 cards. Five, yeah. Okay. So, as you can see, Ivan selected these 5 cards: the Ace of Diamonds, King of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts, Queen of Clubs, and 2 of Clubs. From a deck that was face up. So the choice could have been totally random, especially if it was done, with nothing done prior to that as we did. But because he chose one card before, and he has to remember that card for the ending of the game, right? The choice of that one single card has influenced his mind in selecting the next 5 cards. So he might think that the choice was completely random, when in fact it's not. What is really difficult about this game is that through the help of these 5 cards to decode what was happening in his mind when his mind made the choice, the subconscious choice of selecting these cards, to try to get to the final result of guessing his first selection. Yeah, that was completely random, that though he influenced his mind. So just look at this, right? I just want you to think about it for a second. So the reason why we pick 5 cards, first of all, is because the number of cards has to be uneven. So 5 can be 7, yeah? 5 is a good number. So the number of cards has to be uneven. So the plate of the scale cannot be always 50% balanced, 50-50. If you look at this choice, for example, 3 cards are red while 2 cards are black, right? So the scale, the plate of the scale is already more heavy on the red side. So this would make me assume that the selection of the first card is a red card, right? If you analyze more in depth, you can see that of the four colors. How you call? Yeah. We have the hearts, we have the diamonds, and we have the clubs. We don't have the spades though. He didn't select the spades, so I automatically assume that his mind has rejected the spades because the spades does not belong to that first selection. So I would say that the card is probably not spades. And then again, if you look, we have 3 numbers and 2 picture cards. So the plate of the scale is again unbalanced more on the side of the number. So I would say that the card he selected is probably a number. So we already can slowly get to a little identification. It's a number card and it's of a red color. What red? Is it a hearts or is it a diamonds? Just look at the red cards here. Yeah? We only have 1 card of hearts and 2 cards of diamonds, right? So I automatically assume that the card is a card of diamonds. So it's a red card of diamonds of a number and not a picture. So now the last thing left to do is to understand what is the value of the card, what is the number, right? So if you look again, right, the numbers that are in these 5 cards, because the card is probably not a picture card, we can maybe exclude the pictures and we can just look at the numbers, right? Ace, oh, the card is flying. Ace, 2, ace basically is 1, right? Ace, 1, 2, and 10. So if we go above 10, right, we will get a picture card because the value of 11, 12, 13 is Jack, Queen, and King, right? So instead of going up, then we have to go down because we know the card is going to be a number. So you take the cards that can be taken out of the 10, for example, right? Because we have to go down. We cannot go, we cannot add these cards, right? Because otherwise we would get a picture card. So ace and 2, 1 and 2 together makes 3. And if we subtract 3 by 10, we obtain 7. So most likely the choice of Ivan at the beginning will be a 7 of diamonds. So we can check. Is it a 7 of diamonds? Yeah? 7 of diamonds. Okay guys, we were just having a laugh here with Ivan because he couldn't understand how I guessed the card. And so here comes the moment of the great explanation for this trick. Which everything that I said before, you know, until the moment I guessed the card was total bullshit. Yeah, nothing of it is true, right? So what is important in these arts is that you don't get fooled by just the talk, blah, 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 blah. That is all bullshit, yeah? But if you tell the story correctly, you will get fooled. You will get fooled. Yeah. I mean, if you are told the story correctly, you will get fooled, right? So, in this case, specifically, when I ask Ivan to choose a card, a random card from the deck, he cuts the deck, right? I'm simply using a technique that in card magic is called forcing. Overall, in the whole art of magic is called forcing, where basically I tell you to make a random choice, but the choice is not random at all. So you choose what I want you to choose, right? So I knew from the very beginning the card that he was going to choose. Now, my point is not to explain the technique I used. You just need to be aware of it, that the choice was not random. So this is the first thing that I want you to get out of this little magic trick. When you communicate with gurus and so on and so on and so on, the choices you are making in your path, are they free choices? Are they random choices? Or are they actually influenced? Have you been influenced in one way or another by an external factor? Yeah. So always try to be aware of it, especially when you make important choices of paying somebody big amounts of money or something like that. You get what I mean? And then the second part of the trick, right? When I ask my friend to make a selection of 5 cards, and I state that the mind has been already influenced by the choice of the first card that was randomly chosen. Of course, this is not true. The mind was not influenced at all, and the choice of the 5 cards is totally random, right? So then the difficult part of this trick is trying to connect 5 totally random cards to the card that was chosen in the beginning. How do you do that? You must have a lot of imagination, you know, you really have to make a story out of 5 random cards that will fit perfectly as an explanation to get to guess, yeah, the incognito card. So my story just before was probably not very truthful, not probably full of too much fantasy and imagination, was probably not that great, but nevertheless I want to use this just as an example for you to understand this, right? So when somebody tells you all the beautiful stories, you know, what they did and the amazing things that they have experienced and blah 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 and everything, it might be true, might be not, might be half true, half not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are always aware of this. You're focused on yourself more than focused on the outside, on just listening to the story, right? So don't get fascinated and fooled too easily by the stories you are told, by the people especially to whom you give more power, right? For example, gurus, you know, these woo-woo arts. Trust me, the last thing you want is to end up in a cycle of mental constant anxiety, constant thinking about wanting to be like the other person, like wanting to be the guru, wanting to live the same experiences or achieve the same things. Well, until you can't prove, yeah, that anything of that is true or real, then always be mindful, always be aware of what I just shared with you, right? Of these 2 things: choices, yeah, random choices, stories that you're told. Yeah. Everything works just like in magic. It's the psychology behind it. Yeah. So when you go to see a magic show, a show of illusion. You know that you're gonna get fooled. You know. And you want to get fooled. You go there for that. Then of course, you will mentally try to figure it out. Oh my God, how did that happen and everything. And 99% of the times you will not succeed. But you have lived a beautiful experience. And you go out of the theater with a beautiful memory. And you are enchanted. And you are fascinated. And maybe you are inspired. But when it comes to these kind of arts that we could, let's say, define as spiritual, that are often defined as spiritual, when you go to a guru, unlike when you go to a magic show, I hope that deep inside you, you don't want to get fooled. You're not wishing to get fooled. Some people, of course, they do. They do, unfortunately. And that is the reason why then all these bad things happen in the spiritual world. And it's okay. I'm not judging that. But if you are a true seeker and you really want to progress and you really want to evolve and move forward with your practice and your knowledge, well then you maybe better take care of these few elements. Thank you very much for seeing this little video.